Hi everyone, this is Gary Wilson and welcome to this week's live Investor Agent Training Program. Again, welcome aboard to all of you, whether you've been through the Investor Agent Training Program or the Flipping for Profits Program, Rental Profits Program, or the Property Manager Program. All of you, welcome aboard. You're all eligible for any of the programs at any time. Again, we just like to have you focus on one at a time and get through the first, whether it's a 6-week, 8-week, or 10-week program, get through that before you tackle any other program, because we want to have you gain traction in what you're currently involved in. So in any case, welcome aboard to all the new folks. If you are new, a little bit of housekeeping here. We do use your question box for you to pose questions. From time to time, we will unmute you if you want to, or if there's a reason to unmute you. Okay. Also, the subject matter is based upon what you're telling us. So when you ask questions, when you send us emails, when you call me, text me, what have you, we keep track of the subject matter, and you're telling us what it is you want to discuss in these local webinars. So that's how we communicate, and that's how we determine the content for these webinars. So again, they're not necessarily following any particular course outline. We base it based on what your desire is, what you want to focus on most at this point in time. So that's how we pick the subject matter. So welcome aboard to all the new folks, all the folks who've been in for a while. We appreciate you staying involved. Some of you have been in much longer than a year. We're glad to have you do that because it helps us help the newer folks. Okay, little bit of more housekeeping here. For me, where I'm going to be coming up in the next week or two is going to be the Kansas and Missouri areas. Okay, at the end of next week, I do wrap things up down in Arkansas, and finally Memphis on the 4th of November. Then after that, I'll be in Florida for a week, the Panhandle for the first 2 days, the 7th and 8th of November, and I'll be at St. Pete the following 3 days, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Now, on those 3 days, I'm not going to be teaching classes. I'm going to be in my own workshop. The week after that, I'll be back in Atlanta, and then, of course, after that, we have Thanksgiving off. So, in any case, if you're from the Atlanta area, and some of you are from the Atlanta area, and you know that I'm coming up there, and you want to do a workshop, and you want to have me come to your workshop, please let me know a week in advance so I can schedule it in, as long as I'm not doing a webinar that night. Once I'm done class, I will drive to where you are and come to your workshop. Okay? So in any case, back to the subject for tonight. So tonight what we're doing is we're going to build on what we did last week, because if you think about what we did last week, we went through the guts of Module 1 on how do you identify specific properties in specific neighborhoods and specific areas. Okay, and we got very granular with that. The natural follow-up questions had to do with, okay, Gary, now what do I do with that? How do I, what other tools can I use to take advantage of what I learned there? And which leads us into the first part of Module 2. So we're going to talk about rules of engagement here a little bit, but more importantly, I'm going to show you some specific things you need to think about and specific character traits, not of the properties, but of the opportunities. In other words, we're going to talk about the owners and what do we know about them that will lend them or lead them to want to be more highly motivated to perhaps want to sell their properties. Okay. Then I'm going to give you some tools that your consumers have access to, and oftentimes you have questions. You call me up and say, hey, Gary, I have a client who found this HUD site or Fannie Mae site or VA site, and I didn't know what they were talking about. And obviously that can be a little bit frustrating for you. So I'm going to show you what those sites are. We're going to give you the links for those sites. And we're going to go in through some examples of how those sites are being used. Okay, so that's tonight's agenda. And then we'll be wrapping things up with more Q&A as we go through. So anyway, speaking of Q&A, I'm going to reduce the attendee panel because it looks like everybody's on. All right. And I'm going to go into your question box to see if we have any current questions. So let me go back to the beginning of the questions. Okay, let's see. Crud, I was out of town. Very sorry to miss you, Dorsch. So don't worry, Dorsch. I'll be back. I mean, Nashville's. You guys are in a good area, man, and I've already been asked to come back anyway. So, all right. I still have trouble with the last video. That was Sylvain. Yo, Sylvain, I'm not sure what's going on with that. Let me check with. I know you were working with Paul and Beverly. What we may do, Sylvain, is redo the last session. Maybe we'll do that. Okay, that will be the smartest thing to do, or probably the easiest thing to do. So in any case, okay, we're good on the questions here. All right, first things first. Module 2, the investor agent. And we're going to talk a little bit about rules of engagement for flipping, for renting, and for wholesaling. Because in this module, we show you how to, number one, how do you find certain types of properties that are more targeted? Because a lot of investors are saying, hey, I like to buy some REOs, or I want to buy some estate sales or short sales. We really don't like short sales, by the way, but we're going to touch on that. Okay, and then I'm going to give you specific tools that you can use to help find the specific properties that may or may not be on the MLS. Okay, and this is in addition to some of the other marketing campaigns that you get in Module 4. So first things first, REOs, obviously, as many of you know, REO is an accounting term that refers to real estate owned, and it's an accounting term in the world of banking that banks use to categorize in their books real estate that they've had to take ownership of. Okay, they call it real estate owned in their books, and it's not a very happy, pleasant thing. I can tell you, I used to be in banking for a lot of years, right? Now, these properties have gone through whatever the case is in your particular state or province. Okay, these are properties that have gone through the complete foreclosure process and are now completely owned. All rights of ownership are retained by the bank that had the mortgage on the property. That's REOs. All right, short sales, on the other hand, are properties that are in the process. Okay, they're technically, the owners of those properties are in default on their mortgage. They may not have been foreclosed on yet, but they're behind typically 90 or more days. Okay, I've seen properties in short sale status as long as 6 years in some parts of the country. All right, you would never see that up in Canada, by the way. Canada, we have far fewer foreclosures because in Canada we don't sell our mortgages on the secondary market. There is no secondary market. Okay, so as a result, the banks are holding their mortgages, and they're doing a good due diligence on who they give mortgages to. As you imagine, in the States, greed crept into the equation, and following greed became from fraud, and that led directly to the Great Recession. All right. So in any case, a short sale was a property that is still technically owned by the owner. All right. However, they're behind on their mortgage, and the bank has already sent them NOD, notice of default, and they're firing shots across the bow. They're telling them, hey, if you don't make good on your mortgage, we're going to foreclose on you. So they're telling them what's going to happen. At this point in the game, there could be some potentially good buying opportunities for you and your investors. The challenges with short sales, guys, is they usually will take a lot of time. Even in today's market, when things have gotten much better, short sales can still take month after month after month to purchase, whereas REOs that have already gone through the foreclosure process, you can purchase REOs as quickly as a matter of days or weeks easily, okay? Because the ownership is completely in the hands of the bank. You should get a title policy when you purchase the property, okay? With a short sale, you're buying the property from the owner, not the bank. However, the bank is going to be involved in the short sale process. They're going to approve any sale, number one. And what they're going to want to know is what they're going to mandate is that the owner of the property in no way, shape, or form can walk away with equity in the property or cash out on equity in the property. So let's say you have a short sale scenario. The house is worth $500,000 and the mortgage is $400,000. The bank is not going to let the house be sold for $500,000 and have the current owner walk away with $100,000 in capital gains. They're not going to do that, okay? Because the bank has typically incurred tens upon tens of thousands of dollars in legal costs, okay? So even if they get $500,000 for the sale, the owner walks away scot-free. The bank satisfies the mortgage, gets rid of the property, and possibly gets, maybe, maybe $100,000 less their all the legal costs. Maybe they get a few $1,000s out of it. Okay, so the bottom line is this: the bank will take sometimes less than the face value of the mortgage. I'm sorry, the current value of the mortgage. Let's say it's was originally, let's say it's the balance is 400,000 again. They might take 350 and take it in the shorts for the other 50, but also they'll try to get a judgment against the old owner for the other 50. A lot of short sales attorneys try to get them to not do that, but they often succeed. So a bank may approve that sale. They might just say, you know what, let's just get rid of this, take our losses now, and not have to go through a foreclosure process that could take months and years, tying up a lot more money in legal costs. Okay, so in any case, estate sale. All right, this is another interesting opportunity. An estate sale is a property that's owned by an estate of a deceased person. So let's say Jane Doe is deceased, okay, and her heirs inherit the property. Maybe she's got 2 children. They don't want the property. They live in different parts of the country. They just want to sell the property and walk away with whatever profit they can get. These often look like they could be good deals, and they certainly can be good deals. But basically, you're trying to buy properties that are being held by an estate. Now, the challenge comes in to where if the decedent passed away with no will, intestate they call that, okay, the property has to be handled through what's called a probate process. It's a court process that deals with property of a decedent person where there is no last will and testament. There were no instructions on what to do with that property. That could tie up a property for quite a while and create extra costs and be cause a lot of frustration. Okay, what you're looking for is estate sales that are not in probate. Okay, if at all possible. There's a lot of them out there, right? People, unfortunately, every day, the cycle of life, people are born and people are going to heaven. Okay, so in any case, those are the 3 basic opportunities that investors look for. There's others. I mean, this is just the most common that you hear people talk about because they've taken all the courses that have them focus on these things. But investors find properties in mainstream society too. You can find properties from people who are not in distress. It's not probate, it's not an REO. Maybe it's just a don't want her. Maybe it's somebody who's been transferred and they need to sell that property. Okay. So in any case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some examples of tools that your investors are using to find REO properties. We'll look at that here in a second. But before I do, I want to, actually, let's go ahead and jump into that. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and go to HUDHomestore.com. So here's the URL, okay? And I'm going to jump to that actual website. So let's go there. HUDHomestore.com. Here it is. You can see the URL again. So www.hudhomestore.com/home/index.aspx. If you see it on your screen, just do a screenshot or handwrite that down. But also remember, this is given to you in your training material, so you'll have this in your training material no matter what. I'll give you a second just to focus on that for a second. Okay. Now, what I want to do is let's go through some examples. We'll go through the examples for each of these. So I'm going to slide my panel back over, so I'm not going to be able to see you guys for a second. So hang on one second. Okay. And here's the full screen HUDHomestore.com. This is probably one of the better sites of all the ones that are available for the quasi-government agencies. These are probably the best. And you can see all 50 states are represented. All right, Alaska, Hawaii, even the territories, all right, Guam, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, right? So this is, by the way, we're going to focus on the U.S. for the moment here, so just hang in there if you're from Canada. All right, any field that has an asterisk is a required field. So obviously we need to put in a state code. We're going to put in KS for Kansas because I'm in Kansas right now. All right. And we're going to look in, actually, let's just look in Kansas City, okay? and see if we have any foreclosures. Now, these other fields, you can put in zip code if you want. If you guys want to give me a zip code, just type it in. I'll plug it in. We'll go through this example first, all right? You can look for buyer type. Okay, now your buyers are either going to be owner occupants or investors. Okay, now what HUD does is they have special programs, special buying windows for different entities. So government agencies definitely get first crack at any HUD property, followed by nonprofit. Nonprofit get the next crack at any HUD-owned property, followed by owner occupants. Owner occupants get the third crack at buying these properties. And last but not least is the investor. Investors get the last shot at buying properties that did not get purchased in the prior 3 rounds. So what they do is they make these available only for people in these categories. And they make you and your client sign an affidavit saying, yes, I'm in fact an owner occupant, if they say they're an owner occupant. So let's see what Kansas City has here. And yes, you can put in price ranges from and to. If you know specific case numbers, you can put that in. You can put in numbers of bedrooms, numbers of bathrooms, status. So status is they're accepting bids. It's a new listing. It's price reduced, pending bid opening, showcase property. But let's just look at Kansas City, for example, and let's focus on anything with 3 or more bedrooms and anything with 2 or more bathrooms. And let's see what we get in Kansas City, Kansas. There might not be any. I don't know. Actually, there are. Okay. In fact, we found 5 listings with 3 or more bedrooms and 2 or more bathrooms in Kansas City, Kansas. We'll look at Kansas City, Missouri if you guys want to. You can see the price of these properties. Okay. And look at this one. There's a new one for $83,000 on Walker Avenue. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and that looks like a pretty darn good property. I also like the looks of Lawrence Court. So let's look at this one real quick because this looks fairly new. Okay, so we're going to focus on this one property. I just want to show you all the information that's available. All right. Okay. Availability of home is subject to asset manager accepting a bid from an earlier bid period or removing the home from the market. New bid opening procedures for bids submitted on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or federal holidays. Okay. So in any case, let's look at the property first. Obviously, you can see it looks pretty darn good. All right. So let's look at some of the pictures. That's the outside. There's one of the bathrooms at least. Looks like a family room. And here was a good look at the kitchen. Not too bad looking, right? Remember, they only want $83,000 for this property. Okay. So in any case, it's got 3 bedrooms, 2.10 bathrooms. I don't know what that means. It's essentially 2 bathrooms, 6 rooms altogether. So you've probably got living room, dining room, kitchen, 3 bedrooms. That's it. 1,440 square feet, built in '96. That's good. It's only 20 years old. Okay, and so it's past 1978, which is also news. It's got about a 10,000 foot square lot. Now, let's look and see what else is available out here as far as information goes. Let's look at addendums. You can see there's a sales package, a disclosure addendum, an important notice, a PCR. So let's look at PCR. We'll go work our way backwards. So hang on one second. Let's let that download that. So this is property condition report, in case you were wondering. So in other words, for HUD properties, HUD is going to give you a property condition report. How do you like those apples? Okay. So let's see. Looks like this thing has it. Oh, here it goes. All right. Let's see. HVAC, they're saying it's okay. They give you some characteristics. All electrical components of HVAC system were tested with active electric system in fair condition and function properly at time of inspection. Okay, wiring, functioning normally. Everything's okay. Stove, there is no stove. It's missing, so you don't need a new stove. Cabinets are okay. Plumbing, let's see. Item functionality, no. So plumbing is going to say, let's see, plumbing system was tested with 40 pounds per square inch for 30 minutes and did not hold pressure. In other words, you've got some leaks in your plumbing system. Indicating a leak in the system, no visible evidence of a leak found, plumbing inspection recommended. Okay, I agree. Water heater is okay. Toilet another. Let's see. You know, basically you can see that this place is probably not in too bad a shape. But let's lower that, get rid of that report, and let's see what other addendums are out there. Let's see what important notice has to say. The reason I'm doing this with you guys is I want you to recognize all that's available to you and your clients. Okay, and remember, a lot of times your clients are going to stumble across this stuff, and you need to know what you're looking at. Okay, all right. These are just important notice. If your offer is accepted, you got to get in your hand money in 2 business days, and they do not budge on that. That is pretty serious stuff. Okay, you got to have within 2 days your signed offer, an earnest money deposit check, the whole 9 yards. Okay, and they tell you how much they want, 500 or 1,000, depending on the price of the property. All right, so that's that notice. Just remember, when you're looking to purchase a property, once your initial bid is accepted, you've got to move fast. Okay, you can't really, you've got to use, you know, basically FedEx or overnight mail and get this stuff in ASAP. So you need to tell your clients, hey clients, we need to move fast on this. Your offer's accepted. We got to meet literally the next 24 hours. Okay, so that's what that notice is pertaining to. All right, let's look at disclosure here. Sometimes your disclosures, if it's pre-1978, they will give you a lead paint disclosure. They typically will give you a mold disclosure. Okay, let's see here. Let's see, this is escrow repair. Repair plumbing per PCR cost 0, because we don't know what that is, so just recommend you do an inspection. Remember that was in the report. Okay, property disclosures. Evidence of mildew, mold, substance not remediated. All right, water cannot be activated for inspection per HUD field service manager. Plumbing inspection recommended or required. Let's see. They're telling you there's evidence of mold or mildew substance that has not been remediated, so you may have to have a mold test done on this property too. In any case, not much in here, still a pretty clean report, all right? So that's that one. That's the sales package. Basically, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I just want to show you that when you're purchasing HUD properties, or you're acting as an agent for someone purchasing a HUD property, you're not going to use your MLS forms. You're going to use these forms, okay? And this is the initial sales contract there. There's other things that they're telling you. This is everything you need to submit your bid, okay? It's just lots and lots of stuff, and this is going to be page after page after page. They do give you instructions on how to fill out their sales contract, okay? In any case, you need to tell them what your intended use of the property is, and you've got to be accurate about that. You can't, you don't want to try to fool the government, okay? This is electronic filing. You got to fill that out. Let's see. This is their inspection disclosure. They're telling you they think you should get an inspection, okay? This is your owner-occupant certification. If you're purchasing this and your client's saying, I'm going to live there, everybody needs to sign this, okay? Including you. So if you believe your client is not being truthful, number one, I just wouldn't work with them. But you can't sign that if that's the case, right? Your commission addendum is in there. Let's see. It's basically a disclosure for rights and responsibilities is in there. In any case, you guys can see that there's a lot to this. Oh, this is telling you, by the way, if this deal falls through, your client's gonna forfeit their hand money. Okay. In any case, let's see here. Selecting closing agent, closing date extension policy. So they're of course going to want you to use somebody that they select, but you do have the right to select somebody that you want to select. All right. If you need a contract extension, they're going to charge you $25 per day, and if it's a 15-day extension, that's going to be $375. Okay, and they don't budge on that either, by the way. Let's see, radon and radon gas and mold disclosure. All right, flood addendum. If you're in an area that's considered a flood zone, you gotta have that filled out. Let's see, buyer select closing agent addendum. That's where you identify your closing agent, whoever that is. Okay. In any case, if you're using a different entity, You've got to let them know that. In other words, if you're purchasing in the name of an LLC, you've got to let them know that, okay? In any case, all these forms have to do with the closing here, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on these. You guys can find these. Just go to the HUD Home Store website and you can see them for yourself. They give you a map showing you where the area is geographically. They also give the listing agent information. So the cool thing about HUD properties, guys, is any agent can advertise any HUD listing. HUD listings are considered open listings, and as such, any agent can advertise any HUD listings. They don't have to be your listing. They're open listings because we, the people, own the properties. All right. Any case, that's the agent information, field service manager, asset manager, listing broker. So many of you are going to know, if you're in the Kansas, Missouri area, you're going to know who DMH and Associates is. All right. Harold Jeans is the agent there. Let's see, amenities. That has to do with the property, by the way. Two-car garage, patio deck, porch, fireplace, basement, etc., etc. In any case, that's HUD. So let's go back to the main page or search page here. I'm going to bring my panel back over and see if we have any questions. If any of you guys want me to try a different zip code, just let me know, and I'll plug in any zip code you want. Let's see, this is, let's see, who is this? Oops, hang on a second, I think I got myself. Let me go back to the beginning, hang on 1 second. Oh, Kumar. Okay, Kumar says, I missed a couple of weeks, closed on our 20-bed AFC in Michigan, our first investment property. It's just, hey, Kumar, congratulations, brother. Good job, man. Okay, let's see. We want to try a zip code here, 11413. So hang on 1 second. Let me see here. Who is that that's asking me that? Hang on 1 second, guys, because all I'm seeing is NAT. Oh, Natasha. So Natasha, is that, that's going to be New York. So let me put New York. Hang on 1 second. I've got to always have the state no matter what. So if you give me a zip code, give me the state and the zip code. I should have mentioned that before. I apologize. So let me go back to Natasha's question or suggestion, 11413. There it is, 11413. And let's do search. Actually, let's take out bedrooms and bathrooms and see what we get. Okay, zip code 11413. Required field, except property case number. Okay, this is Laurelton, New York, 11413, and they're saying, Natasha, there's no foreclosures in Laurelton. Excuse me. Let me make sure the rest of the fields are clear. They are clear. So, so go ahead, and if you guys want to give me another zip code, let's see what we got out there. Let me go back and make sure I've gotten through all the questions here. Hang on 1 second. Where was that? Okay, let's do this. Let's jump to another website because I want to make sure I cover all these websites for you. But as you can see, guys, this is pretty cool stuff, all right? And you definitely want to get used to using it. And because your clients, you want to show them what's possible, but more importantly, and they have to use you. They can't, you know, the bottom line is this. You have to register yourself as a agent who's able to sell HUD properties. If you, let's see, let me reduce this. Okay, if you go to NAID application, you fill it out, you and your broker, then you're going to be eligible to sell HUD properties. Okay, so you have to do that, and then you start working with your buyers. So that's HUD. Let me go to Home Steps. Okay, this is for Freddie Mac homes, all right? And Freddie Mac, by the way, has some awesome loan programs for people buying multi-unit buildings, particularly big buildings. Excellent loan programs for people buying big buildings. So let's, this is a little bit different than HUD, by the way, as you can see. You know, it's a different type of panel, and they know that I'm near Missouri. I'm not in Missouri now, but look at some of these properties. Richmond, Missouri, 85,000. Springfield, Missouri, I just went through there yesterday, 89,000. Richmond, Missouri, 39,000. St. Joseph, Missouri, we're not too far from there right now, 15,000. Boy, that's crazy. So let's type in, let's see, I need a zip code. I don't even think I have a zip code. Let me see here, 1 second. I'm going to type in 56062. 56062. Let's see what we get. I think that is in the Olathe area. Of course, that might be a 66. That's Florida. Ooh, got that wrong. Okay, let me type in 66062 and see what we get there. That'll take me back out to, okay, nothing there. That's Olathe. Overland Park, let's try 66210. 210. There might not be a lot up here. We'll find out here in a second. There is one, okay. 154,000, 1099 Bradshaw Street, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a little over 2,000 square feet. So let's click on that guy and see what we get. Remember, this is Freddie Mac, okay? Not a bad looking little house there. Platinum Realty has this one listed. Now, what I told you on HUD properties, the fact that any agent can advertise any HUD property because they're open listings, that's only true with HUD properties. That privilege does not exist for these Freddie Mac properties. Okay, they may have done that in the past, they may do it in the future, but the last I checked, that privilege only existed for HUD properties. The privilege of listing HUD listings that are not your own. You can see this place looks pretty darn good, and I can tell you the average home price is around 240-ish around here right now. So this is probably a pretty darn good deal. Heck, I mean, some of you guys might want to take a look at this actually. In any case, not as much information here as you're going to get on the HUD website, but you can see there's lots of calculators. You can calculate a down payment. You can calculate mortgages. Okay, that gives you let's see. Some description of the property tells you that there is an initiative for green space. Okay, talks about the 2 fireplaces, excuse me, new roof, gutters, etc., etc. So we got the price. We got the fact that it's got 3 bedrooms is pretty cool. Forced air, central heat, two-car parking garage. Built in '74, so this is pre-1978. So this may require a lead paint disclosure. It will require a lead paint addendum, and may require an inspection and/or disclosure. All right. It tells you where they are. Olathe, air conditioning. It's stucco and concrete. You get a lot of information. A great deck, by the way. Built in '74. So in any case, not as much information here as you get on the HUD site, but certainly a lot of cool tools. All right. And you can learn how, by clicking on here, how Freddie Mac actually works. You get school information, community information, pretty good stuff that you can show to your clients, right? So you get the street view. Can also do a different type of map view. But what this will tell you is, let's just look around here. I mean, this looks like a pretty decent area. Heck, I'd live here, So let's flip this around some more and see what we got. Okay, whoops, excuse me. So pretty neat stuff, okay? You can go left, you can go right, you can go all the way around in a circle. I mean, this looks like the kind of neighborhood you guys would want to flip a home. It sure does for me. So before I go any further, let me check for questions here real quick, because I want to make sure I'm not moving too fast here. Okay, this is from Wanda. Hi, Wanda. Wanda says, or asks, how do you find out if there are HOA fees or liens on properties? So Wanda, when you're buying these HOA fees and arrears, yes. So when you're buying these properties, the fact that you're buying them, and these are REOs, in other words, these are properties that are on these websites, they've already been foreclosed on, and they'll disclose that to you. So when you go through to purchase the property and you go through your title process, okay, the title searcher is going to uncover all of these liens. And the good news is, because you're buying a foreclosure and not a share sale. So real quick, let me do a quick pause here. If you go to a share sale, guys, you inherit the property and the liens. Okay, the liens do not get wiped out when you buy a property at sheriff's sale. When you buy a property from a bank, it's already gone through sheriff's sale. It's now owned by the bank. You're going to get a title policy. You're going to have a title search done. The current owner, in this case the bank, is going to have to satisfy the liens on the property, HOA liens, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so back to your question on it, that discovery is going to come out in the discovery process. In other words, they're going to look back and see, they're going to look and see what the liens are, and they're going to satisfy them in the case of buying a foreclosed property. Okay. In any case, I wanted to show you guys that. Let's see, I'm going to type in one more. Let's see, this is, Natasha says, type in 11434. So let's type in 11434. Whoops, excuse me. 11434. Let's hit the enter key here. So Natasha, you can do this. You can so no Freddie Mac properties in the Jamaica area of Queens. Okay, and we can try some more. You know, let's see here. I want to see if there's anything else I want to show you guys. You can see that there's New York right there. All right, and Queens is right in. Sorry, Queens is up here. Queens is all around this area right up here. Okay, that's all Queens. So in any case, let me try. Let me go to another website. Okay, all right. Here's the VA, guys. This is the VA site. So these are properties that veterans have lost in foreclosure or active duty. That is active duty or retired military. So let's type in. Let's see, that's Arkansas, is that right? Yeah, let's type in, whoops, let's type in Arkansas, because I'll be there next. Let's submit. Plus, again, you can put in bedrooms, bathrooms, price range, specific cities or zip codes. So let's type in submit on Arkansas. Right, I'm sorry, that's Alaska, excuse me. Arkansas, I think, is AR. Yeah, Arkansas is there. Well, look at Alaska. There's 30 foreclosed properties in Alaska, and believe it or not, we've got a KW Market Center in Alaska, okay, and they actually do pretty good, and there's investors up there. Look at these prices. These are foreclosed properties going for $250,000. I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in Alaska. Okay, I'll go up there to teach in the summertime. All right, let me type in Arkansas. I meant to do that. AR is Arkansas, as I will be there next week. And yep, as you might guess, there's 73 VA held properties in Arkansas, and look at some of these properties and look at some of these pictures. There's Alma, Altus, Austin. Let's look at this one right here. That one looks pretty sweet. I think it was 134,000. Okay, lot size 2 to 3 acres. Built in '96. It's only 20 years old. 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Sales pending, so some smart person discovered that property. But look at the pictures. Okay, you know, maybe some colors you might not necessarily care for, but fairly modern equipment, some cheap laminate flooring there. Kitchen not too bad a shape. But in any case, I don't know the pricing down there. I'll know next week when I go down there to teach. But as you can see, VA doesn't give you a lot of information. They tell you the purchasing process, buyer's guide. They give you their form of their offer to purchase. It's different than your MLS again. Okay, they have their own form for you to use to purchase properties. They do give you seller's disclosure, radon, gas, and mold. Now, if you look at their disclosure, let's just look at one of their disclosures just for fun. I want to show you what you typically get. All right, seller's disclosure statement. Really, what they're saying is if they have reports, they're going to give you reports. If they don't, they claim nothing about this property. They don't know anything about the property. They've never been there. They didn't live there. That's what this thing is doing here. So it's as is, where is, and your client has to sign that. So you need to be aware of it. Okay, that may sound disheartening, but it's the VA, Department of Veterans Affairs, did not live in the property, obviously, and they're basically protecting themselves. So in any case, I just wanted to show you that one thing there. Let me reduce that. Go back to where I was. So that's VA. Of course, they give you radon gas and mold disclosures too. All right. So let me go to the next one, which is Fannie Mae, and better known as Home Path. Now, the reason this comes about here is because a lot of banks are selling their mortgages on a secondary market, and when they do that, they have to follow Fannie Mae guidelines. Okay. And one of the things that comes up as a result of that is they have to use asset managers to dispose of the non-performing assets. Okay, might not sound too glamorous, but the fact is you need to be aware of it, and that's why I always tell people if you want to work with banks and get bank listings, work with the small local banks. It's much easier and a lot less competitive. Most agents are focusing on the big banks, trying to get on the asset manager's good list, and it's quite difficult. Okay. I know because I used to be a listing broker for a lot of asset managers. Okay, let's just type in. So Natasha, let's type in here. Let's see if we got 11434 here show up any results. Yes, we're going to do that. We're going to do a search. This is for Queens, and you might get some hits here because obviously Fannie Mae is probably the most prevalent. And no properties found, search nearby. Let's go ahead and search nearby. Let's do 11236 and see what pops up. Well, that's funny. They told us to search there. Oh, here we go. Hang on. There are no properties found. Okay, let's do 11235. Okay. All right, I don't know why it's actually I should type it up here. I'm sorry. 11235. Let's do that. I thought if I clicked on it, it would give me the do this, fill in a search for me. Okay, let's do 11236. Okay. I'm trying to remember what the other one was. Why did it do that for me? So let me go back to your question box. Natasha goes, I think you gave me another one. If I'm not mistaken. Whoops, hang on 1 second. Was that it? Nope, that wasn't it. Oh, here's one, 28806. 28806. 28806. Let's see what we get. Hang on 1 second. And that's Asheville. It seems like it's kind of hung up here for a second. Let me go back and see. No properties found in Nashville, at least for 22806. So in any case, basically, I mean, I just want to show you guys what's possible, show that what you can use. There's 4 of these sites. Amongst those 4 sites, you typically will find foreclosures in almost every area. You'd be surprised at how many there are in some areas and how few there are in other areas, okay? But the reality is the only way to find out is if you actually go in and play with this. You got to play around with it. Type in some zip codes, see what comes up. I prefer to start at the state level just to see, you know, what's possible out there. So I wonder if I typed in New York City, if that's a valid search term. Let's just see there. Did you mean? Let's type in Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn, New York. Let's see what happens there. Whoops. There are some. Okay. So Natasha, let me slide this over so you can see this. I'll drop this down a bit. Okay, these look like they're down in the Brooklyn area. And 1, 2. All right, let me zoom. Let me go zoom in again. All right. Well, you got a bunch of them. Okay. So let's see here. Oh, 189,000, 138,000, 173. Here's a nice one. 600,000, 950, 375, 155, 539. So what I think, Natasha, is, you know how when we were up there, we determined you've got like 70 zip codes in Brooklyn. You got like 70 zip codes in Queens, and same thing with Bronx. What I would do is I would start with the borough first, Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, what have you, and see what you have first, and you can tell by the map view what you're dealing with. So Natasha, does this help you better see what you can do in your area? I mean, I can type in Bronx, okay? And let's just see, Bronx, New York, and Bronx is its own county, just like Brooklyn and Queens are. So let's see what we get here. It's thinking about it, and then we'll do Queens after that. Look at that, you got a bunch in. You got one all the way up in Mount Vernon. So in any case, boy, this looks pretty. Man, if Ravel, if you're on, or any of you guys are on from the Bronx office, you should be looking at this. Okay, looks like some pretty. That looks really nice. Okay, some pretty good stuff out there. Let's try Queens. Whoops, if I can spell it correctly. Queens, New York. Okay, let's see what pops up there. Look at that, Howard Beach, 289,000. Holy smokes, guys. 289,000. I would probably be looking at that. Let me reduce this a little bit. See, I think there's a couple of them out here. Well, there's two of them, Hamilton Beach and right on Linden Boulevard. So I think I would look at this one. Natasha, if you want to go to the Queens, I don't particularly know Hamilton Beach, but I think I would look at that one if I was you or your clients. Okay, so in any case, that's the home path for Fannie Mae. Now let me jump back to here real quick. So I wanted to show you these. Okay, that's the HUD. Here's the HUD one in case you didn't catch the URLs. Again, the URLs come in your training material, but here they are anyways, HUDhomestore.com. Okay. Next one is HomeSteps, HomeSteps.com. Next one is your VA, listings.vrmco.com. That's VA. And then you got HomePath for Fannie Mae, homepath.com. All right. So in any case, what I recommend you do is I recommend you guys play with these on your own to get familiar with them. Now, I threw in here, there's Zillow, there's Trulia. I think Zillow actually bought Trulia. You can see all the major brokers have their own KW, Remax, Coldwell Banker. You also have Realtor.com. I wouldn't, these other ones, by the way, Zillow and all these others, I will tell you to try to have your clients not use them, and the reason is the data on these sites, it's very difficult for them to keep current. They're very good at scraping the internet to load their systems or online websites with the listings as they pop up in other properties. But they don't have a real good mechanism for removing the properties once they get sold. So you'll have clients go out here to Trulia, to Zillow, to Realtor.com, Coldwell Banker, what have you, and say, hey, I found a property out there. It looks pretty good. How come you didn't send it to me in my listings? And you go to look it up and you can't find it. You find it had already sold 3 weeks before or a month before or 2 days before. Then you got to go through all that effort to find that out and then tell your client, well, that's because it already sold. And they're going to say, well, that's not what it said online. That's why you want to have them focus on the MLS system that you provide through your services and all the other tools that we give you through the training program. Okay, because otherwise it'll drive you crazy. All right. In any case, I don't want to, tie up with, a lot of looking into all these other websites. I just want to show you what your clients are seeing out there. All right. And if you focus back here, you'll get that you're going right to the horse's mouth. You're going right to the providers of the bulk of these REO properties, and you get more accurate information. Also, your MLS is obviously more accurate. So in any case, let me bring my panel back over here and let's see what kind of other questions we have. Or if you want me to try other zip codes or towns, please give me a town, preferably the town and the state, the city and state, and I will plug those in to see if we have properties in your area. So Sylvain says, with the VA, the listing price are what the owner still owed to the bank. No, so Sylvain, the listing price is exactly what the VA wants to the property. This is what they're offering. So almost like you have any listing, the current owner is going to say, here's what we want for the property. So that listing price is what they like to get. Whether or not they get it is another story. In fact, they typically will go higher than what they will normally accept, hoping to get more out of the sale, and also to give themselves negotiating power, give themselves negotiating room. So the answer is, no, that listing price is not what the current owner owes. That you can determine by going to your county's public records and look for the notice of default. It'll tell you what the balance was on the loan at the time that they were given the notice of default. Okay. You also will know eventually when you go to closing what the loan balance was that was paid off. Now they're going to add all their fees and all that stuff to that, so that's really not going to be all that accurate. You're better off, if you really want to know, you've got to do more research. Okay, so here's one from Roger. Roger says, will we be using our local MLS transaction forms with any of the foreclosure sites? So Roger, good question. VA has their own sales agreement. HUD has their own sales agreement. Typically, with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, you start off with your own board's forms, the actual listing, the actual purchase agreements from your office or your board, and then you're going to have to add on the addendums from Freddie Mac, from Fannie Mae. They're going to give you addendums that you need to include in your offer. So you're going to make an offer to, we'll just focus on Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. They're going to respond to you saying you need to include these addendums, and Fannie Mae is probably like 36 pages long, something ridiculous like that. And you need to turn that paperwork in before they officially will review and respond to your offer. So you can ask them all you want. Hey, did you like the offer? You're going to accept it? You're going to counteroffer? They're going to say, we'll let you know once you submit their addendum, the rest of their paperwork. Okay, so hang on one second while I look for other questions here. Hang on one second, guys. So Roger, does that help? So VA and HUD, the answer is no, you use their forms only, sales purchase agreement and addendums. For Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, you can use your own office list, your own office purchase agreement, plus their addendums, the Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. Now, if you're dealing with, there's lots of other entities, by the way, guys. You can purchase through. Let's see, who did I used to sell? I had my own title business too for a while. Old Republic. See, Old Republic doesn't just offer title insurance; they also offer homeowners title insurance and homeowners insurance and things like that. And from time to time, they'll have foreclosures, and they're pretty good at working with. They have their own addendum, but you get to use your own forms. So in most cases, Roger, you actually do get to use your own forms. You just have to use whatever entity is their particular addendums. All right, so Natasha says the real money in Brooklyn, the real money is in Brooklyn. 600,000 in Prospect Place is excellent. This helps. So Natasha, I would go look at that property. So go to that website, plug in Brooklyn, and see what you can find, because you might find some sweet deals out there, Natasha. Okay. All right, let me see what else we got here question-wise. Let's see. I think we're caught up on questions. Let me go back to the end of the list just to verify. I want to make sure we don't actually mistakenly miss anybody. Okay, I think that's it for questions. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, that was a pretty good session there. I'm gonna wrap it up here, because if we start into something else, it'll be another half hour to an hour, and I know it's late. To me, it's only 7 o'clock. To you, most of you guys on the East Coast, it's 8 o'clock. For the Californians, for Rhonda, it's only 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Excuse me. You know what's going to get real confusing, guys, is daylight savings is going to kick in here this weekend, and I'm going between time zones, and going right down through Nashville. There's a time zone change, and I'm going from west to east. Literally next week, and it gets really confusing. So, in any case, I appreciate you being on the webinar tonight. I hope this helps you guys a lot. Please remember to go back to your training material to find all these websites, practice using them so that when your clients say something like, hey, I found this on, HUDHomestore.com or the VA website, at least you can speak from an informed position about these websites, and you can more importantly know where to look for these properties that they're seeing. Go to your MLS, see if they're on there. Even if they're not, go back here and find out who the listing agent is. If they're on here, they should be on the MLS, okay? So if you have any questions, obviously, please, let me know, call, text, or email. I'm so glad so many of you guys are producing and really succeeding exceedingly well with this program. Some of you are just getting started with your marketing. I know some of you have done your research and you're heading out there and doing your first workshops. And a lot of you are using the booklet, which is really refreshing. Last year, more people were doing workshops. This year, more people are doing booklets, for example. Some of you are actually getting a lot of good deals from the local banks. So keep remembering that, guys. Local banks is a great source of inventory, okay? Virtually untapped, and most agents never even think to go there to ask. So, in any case, remember to do that. Please let me know what you want to discuss in these subsequent weeks, and we'll get that information out to you, and we'll discuss those subjects on the webinars. So in the meantime, I hope you have an awesome week coming up ahead. The next webinar happens to be next Tuesday night. Obviously, Monday night is going to be Valentine's Day. I'm sorry, Halloween. And we don't want to have a webinar on Halloween night when we're out with our children trick-or-treating. So next Tuesday night, 7 Eastern, 4 o'clock California time, 5 Central, and 6 Central and 5 Mountain time. You guys have an awesome week, a beautiful weekend. God bless you all, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.